Normally we say the third time is the charm, but not so in today's gospel. The owner of the orchard comes back 3 years in a row to see if there is any fruit, but no fruit is found. The soil will be exhausted. We gave it a try to no avail. It's time to cut it down. But the gardener has a different opinion. Maybe next year. There is always room for hope, even after the third try. But the hope of the gardener is not empty hope. He will work for it. I shall trim it. I shall fertilize it. Check it out next year, please. Maybe next year. That gardener is persistent, but his hope is not in vain. He works for it. I want a gardener like that in the garden of my life. Do you remember that after the resurrection, Mary Magdalene saw the risen Jesus, but at first she did not recognize him? Why? Because she thought he was the gardener. She thought he was the gardener. Or was he? Last Advent, we learned the 4 words of the Kerygma, which you now should know by heart, right? First word, created, captured, rescued, response. Oh, come on, you forgot already? Let's do it again. Created, captured, rescued, and response. We were created in a garden to be stewards of the garden. That's the image that we receive from the book of Genesis. We were also captured in a garden. The enemy captured us there. In this beautiful world where God put us for freedom, unfortunately, we became captured by sin. But we were also rescued in a garden. Think of Jesus' agony in the garden, the first sorrowful mystery, the resurrection of Jesus from the tomb that was next to a garden, the tomb that was attached to Calvary, the first glorious mystery, the resurrection of Christ. But this rescue project is not limited to the garden of 2,000 years ago, but also to the future garden of the holy city of Jerusalem, of heaven, our destiny. The last pages of our Bibles speak precisely of that garden. So our response also takes place in a garden, the garden of our lives, the orchard of our lives. These lives in which many times we have exhausted the soil, are lives that have too many thorns, and let's face it, lives that have produced limited fruits. To use the image of the first reading, sometimes we are not like the living burning bush, but instead completely burnt out. But the good gardener, Jesus, says, one more time, let's try one more time. Maybe next year it will produce fruit. As I was reflecting on this passage, something also caught my attention. The gardener said in reply to the master, "Sir, leave this fig tree for another year. I shall cultivate the ground around it and fertilize it. It may bear fruit in the future. If not, you can cut it down." What is fertilizer made of? What kind of fertilizer is he talking about? The fancy chemicals that we use nowadays? Or plain old fertilizer from 2,000 years ago from the Bible? Jesus, the gardener, precisely can use the rotten byproduct of our sinful lives to fertilize the soil of our gardens. Yes, God can do that. Maybe, just maybe, let's give it a try. One more year. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. Amen.